Bam! What's up, my YouTube fam? Got a quick video we're doing. I entered a couple of raffles this past week, one of which was for this knife right here. BamaKnifeWife has been wanting one of these for quite a while. It is a Chaparral, but it's not just any Chaparral. It is a Chaparral in CTS XHP and Carbon Fiber. We went to Blade Show 2019. She went with me, and we were up there, and she was talking to Mr. Eric Glesser, and there was a lady that was working for him that had one of these in her pocket, and so Kelly got to handle it, and she really liked it. So I was entered one of the raffles for Long Island Knife Guy and won it. So it came with your standard, standard production edge, which is not that impressive. So I thought, well, this would be a good opportunity to do like just a really quick sharpening on camera to show you how quick you can take a knife from just a standard production edge to something that would be EDC-able pretty rapidly. So that's what we're gonna do right quick. It'll only take just a few minutes to sharpen it up and get it where it needs to be. Real quick, I've got another video coming up on some Kubey knives. Mr. Yang and Mr. Andy have been nice enough to provide these to the Bama Knife Guy channel. I'll get you guys the numbers on which ones these are. I have forgotten because I didn't do my research before I pulled all these knives over here on the counter. But a couple of Kubey knives that they provided to the channel for review. Pretty awesome, and I'll put it down in the information on the video. You can click the little tab and look down below, and I'll put the names of these down there, or the numbers rather. This is black G10, nice pocket clip. It's D2 blade steel. It's a very thin blade profile, flipper, liner lock. Not a bad knife. I mean, if that blade profile is your style, I mean, it's a good build quality. Nice and stabby. I mean, it's a super thin tip there. My favorite of the two, and I've got another one on the way too from them that's been provided. The favorite of the two for me is this one here, this Kubey. It's carbon fiber. It's a nice carbon fiber. I like it. It's got a good feel to it. This one's got the acid stone washed hardware, nice clip. It's a D2 blade as well, and it's a nice thin knife. That swedge looks really nice. It's not a full, so it doesn't come to, I mean, it's pretty nice. It looks a little more thin than it is. It's a very mild cut in it, but I like it. The only complaint on this one is access to the lock bar. It looks like it's gonna be plenty until you go to do it, and then it just feels like it's lacking for sure. Could be a little more access, but it's a nice knife. I really like it. I've taken it and used it and cut a lot with it, did some sharpening on it, and it's a nice blade. I really dig it. So I'm gonna do more of a full review on these two and that third one. Once the third one gets here, I'm gonna do a video dedicated to Kubey knives. If you don't know about Kubey, or Kubey, however you wanna pronounce it, I say Kubey. If you don't know about this company, go give them a follow on Instagram, check them out. They provide some really nice blades. So if you don't know who they are, give them a shot. I think I've posted a couple of Instagram pictures with a knife that belongs to Jared and Kara Neve, and it is a Kubey Anteater, which is a fantastic knife. I may have it here. Hang on one second. Let me see if I can find it. I didn't get it out because I wasn't planning on talking about it, but it's an awesome knife. Let's see if I have it laying here close by. There it is. The Kubey Anteater. Beautiful knife. I believe it's S35VN. It's got that purple anode to it. I mean, it's a gorgeous knife. Yeah, S35. And look at that blade, man. This thing is super sick. Really like it a lot. This one belongs to them. This one's discontinued, so unfortunately you can't get your hands on this one. You might be able to find one secondary, but directly from Kubey you can't. But this is a sweet knife. The action is wonderful, and Jared did a really phenomenal job sharpening this thing. It's insanely sharp, and I haven't used it or anything. I haven't done anything with it just because I'm scared to mess it up because it's discontinued. But it's a gorgeous knife. All right, moving on to the sharpening aspect of this video. And we got a couple of things on the table here. My gift knife from Mr. Spirited Whiskey. This one's beautiful. We've got some more videos coming up soon from some of his stuff too. But this one here is one of my favorite carry knives right now. It's the Mass Drop, or now it's called Drop Thresher. I love this knife. The Thresher is a great knife, and it's definitely been customized, as you can tell. EDC Michigan did these customizations. Got a little something greasy on the blade there. Have to clean that off. But yeah, it's a beautiful knife. I love this thing. And the edge that's on it, I believe, was EDC Michigan as well. And that edge is sick. I stropped it, and that's all I've had to do to maintain it. It's beautiful. All right. And of course, my Factor Equipment Iconic with my BamaKnifeWife logo engraved in there. Pretty neat. I like to have a few things on the table for people to look at while I run my face. Got my PPT. This is still for sale too, guys. This is the Sprint Run Perrin PPT. It is for sale, S90V. It's got that contoured carbon fiber. It's a wonderful knife. The only thing that's been done to it is just sharpening. I haven't used it. Blade's not scratched up or anything. I've carried it a few times, but it is insanely sharp. The only thing on it is that little shiny spot on the liner right there. That's the only issue on this entire knife. It's in great shape. Oh, well, I lied. Looks like there's a little mark right there on the clip too. But great knife for sale or for trade. I don't have anything, you know, that I'm particularly interested in. No fixed blades. Not really a fixed blade guy. But this knife is for sale or for trade. So if anybody has anything that they want to try to trade me, hit me up on Instagram. It's BamaKnifeWife, all one word. Just hit me up and let me know if you want to try to trade it or buy it or whatever. I think the value I'm going to put on it's about maybe 180 bucks ish. Of course, we got the Sleesh buoy on the table too. I got a whole lot of Spydercos over at the Big Bore Knife and Gear channel right now with my buddy Scott Big Bore Williams. Great dude. I sent him a whole box of Spydercos to play around with. So if you haven't checked him out, go check him out. He's a brand new channel, just getting fired up. He's only got a couple of videos released, and he's a good dude. Love him to death, great guy. So without further ado, let's jump into this real quick. It is a sharp edge, so I'm not gonna spend a ton of time on it, but it does need to be sharpened. I'm not a production edge guy. We're not gonna need the extra coarse for this. XHP is not one of those crazy hard steels. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna jump on this thing right quick and kind of, you know, lay it in there and get my shadow, get my angle right. And then I'm gonna make a few passes here. It sounds like they left a burr on it. I thought I could feel a little bit of a burr, and I think I was right because I definitely heard the burr. You can, yeah, I've already formed it on this side that quickly just with one pass. I don't know if I'll get it to show up or not. Let's see. Yeah, you can see that burr there. Right on the edge. When I roll it around, you'll see the reflectivity of it. There's definitely a burr there, and you can hear it. Let's see if you can hear this. On this side, no burr. This side, burr. No burr. Burr. Yep. So anyway, so we'll make a few passes on each side here. And when I'm on my finishing passes, I make a sweep pass like this, just a sweep, like that. But when I am trying to remove material, I walk it back and forth like this. Not saying I'm trying to remove a bunch of material now, it's just generally when I'm trying to, and this is not necessarily a full reprofiling, but when I'm reprofiling, I like to use that walking it back and forth method. And then when I'm trying to get my scratch pattern, I run this way. I like to have a scratch pattern. I like for my scratch pattern to be kind of this direction, like kind of somewhat, you know, not straight up and down, definitely not forward. You know, I like a scratch pattern to kind of run backward like this, almost at a 45. because your scratch pattern does go all the way to the apex. So it kind of gives you a little bit of aggression on your cutting when you're draw cutting there. So that's what I like to do, whether it's nonsense or not, whatever. But that's kind of how I like to do it. I like to create that scratch pattern moving in the backward direction. These are very easy knives to sharpen. I've noticed the Chaparral. I've sharpened a few of them for people. I have not owned one myself, but I have had a few get sent to me for sharpening, and just the way that I hold it in my hand, it's just such a great little EDC blade. It's very, very easy to sharpen. It lays down and just kind of rides on the stones very effortlessly. Don't even really have to check the angles much because I'm used to handling these knives, and I kind of know how they handle. Plus I'm used to sharpening too, and I know where my hand is. But yeah, that's all I'm doing in this video. Just a quick demonstration of taking a production somewhat sharp edge to something that you would be comfortable carrying. See here, no burr. Might be a tiny little burr that side, but we've pretty much stood it straight up, so I could strop it right now and have an edge that would be, you know, decent to carry. But we're not going to do that. We're going to go to the fine. Let's see here. I think I've got. Yeah, everything looks pretty consistent there, so we're going to jump over to the fine. And we're gonna do a few passes on here and refine that scratch pattern. And like I was telling you guys, for the ones that watched my sharpening video, I did one in the park one night when my wife and I were out walking the dog, and then I also did a sharpening video of reprofiling and repairing the damage on that SOCOM Elite that I broke, or broke the tip off of, rather. And it does not take long. That's what I was trying to show you guys in those videos, is that sharpening knives is not something that takes a very long time. You do not have to dedicate an entire evening to sharpening a knife. I mean, this is something you can do. I just recently loaned my Spidey Chef to Super Steel Steve. It seems like that's the knife that everybody chooses when they're gonna go on a beach trip. Kelly's brother, BamaKnifeWife's brother, Tyler, on Instagram, by the way, is It's All Outdoors on Instagram. He was taking a beach trip. He was a best man in a wedding, and it happened to be a beach wedding, and he needed a knife that he could take with him that would be trustworthy and be okay to be on the beach. So of course we landed on the LC200N of the Spidey Chef. So I sent it with him, and then he no more than got it back to me. The day I got it back, Steve hit me up and was like, "Hey man, you think I can borrow your Spidey Chef for a beach trip?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, man." It literally just came back from the beach. So Steve's got it, and I sharpened that knife because Tyler had it for a little while, and he had used it and dulled it up pretty good. So it wasn't in great shape when I got it back. I mean, good shape, that's the wrong words to use. It was in great shape. Just the edge, the apex, had a couple of rolls on it, and it needed a sharpening. I literally sharpened that knife in about 2 minutes, sitting in the parking lot of the post office on my DMT diafolds. And when Steve got it, and Steve's a professional sharper, I mean, he really knows what he's doing. When he got it, he commented on how sharp the edge was. So that is kind of just an example of how quickly you can take a knife from a pretty beat up edge to something that's very nice in very, very little time. It does not take long, and if you have a decent technique, man, it's something you can do with your eyes closed, literally. I have guys all the time at the office that will come up to me and go, "Hey man, can you put an edge on this for me right quick?" And while I'm talking about their knife to them and telling them about the steel and just a couple of little topics of conversation, the knife is already done being sharpened. It does not take long. I do it in the parking lot standing next to the truck. I mean, it takes no time at all. And this one now is extremely sharp. We'll make a few more quick passes. if I'm gonna be putting this in the hands of BamaKnifeWife, I want it to be nice and sharp. Can't be giving her a dull knife, so. There's a funny story that goes along with her EDC knives. She has not always been BamaKnifeWife, obviously. She's not really been into knives. And so after I got into knives and started my YouTube channel and stuff like that, I've been trying to get her to carry, you know, a decent knife. But she was just kind of like, you know, you don't really have anything that intrigues me. So the only thing I had around that was a small knife was a little SOG, one of those little Ulti-Clip SOGs or whatever, the little junky plastic one. And so I was like, okay, look, just throw this in your purse or in your car so that you've got a knife on you. And she was like, whatever. She didn't think nothing about it. Well, then when we went to Blade Show and Mr. Vinny Nero and Super Steel Steve and Corey Glasser, they're all riding with us in the car. And Steve looks down and sees in the console of Bama Knife Guy's car, sees a SOG, a little, not only just a SOG, SOG makes some decent stuff, but a crappy plastic, you know, just junky SOG laying in the console. And he's like, whose knife is that? And Kelly's like, oh, that's the one that he gave me to carry. And she knew that it was, you know, not a great knife. And so Steve proceeds to yell out. We're sitting directly in front of the Civic Center down there with thousands of knife guys standing around. Steve proceeds to yell out at the top of his lungs, Bama Knife Guy's wife carries a SOG. Bama Knife Guy's wife carries an effing SOG. And he's like holding it up, jumping around, yelling. So that was pretty hilarious. And then after that, she was like, you've got to get me a good knife. So I talked to Bill Koenig about getting her actual, you know, grail, the one that she wants more than anything else, is a mini goblin, the Koenig mini goblin. She saw Stasa 23's mini goblin at Blade Show and really liked it, and she really wanted one, and so I'm working on trying to find her one of those. Bill Koenig said he would do a run, the next time that he did a run of goblins, he would run me a specific one off with that I think it was a Knife Joy exclusive with the teal micarta, and it's a material that comes from Russia, and it's really hard to get. It takes a long time, but he said he would do that for me. But who knows how long that's going to be, so I might have to get her another one in between time. So if anybody out there in YouTube land has a mini goblin or knows of someone that has a mini goblin that could let it go, that would be wonderful. I would love to give that to her. But she also at Blade Show saw this little Chaparral, this little carbon fiber XHP Chaparral while we were over there talking to Eric and Sal, and she liked it too. It's a super thin little EDC blade, and so I entered that raffle and luckily won. I actually won 2 raffles in 3 days, or no, 3 raffles in 2 days. I won this Chaparral, I won my choice of a Paramilitary 2, all 3 M390 ones, and then a 20 CV. I had my choice of them. I went with the black and blue bento box shop. I had one of those for a while and loved it, so I got one of those. And I also won some gold, so I had a couple of good days of luck in the raffle game. So that's it. This knife is sharp. I'm about to grab a homemade strop and pass it on that a couple times, and it'll be sharp. Hang on one moment. So I've got just a homemade, it's got some veg tan leather literally off of a pair of boots that I snagged it off the upper of a pair of boots and put it on a 2x4 and put some diamond paste on it. And this is what you guys have seen my videos of all my hair splitting edges where I'm able to whittle hair, and this is what it comes off of is these. And then I've got some strips of wood, some bass wood that I use that I put that same diamond compound on. I get the paste, that diamond paste that I get it from Chef Knives To Go. And I get the basswood from Hobby Lobby, and then obviously, you know, I get the leather like we just discussed from an old pair of boots. So it doesn't take much. It's very effortless and very cheap to be able to sharpen knives. I've got just a tiny little burr right there at the base, right there by the ricasso. So we're gonna pass that on there one more time lightly. And this time just for good measure. And back. Let me check that. And that's what I'm checking for the burr. I'm rolling this direction to check for the burr. And everything feels good. So we're gonna, one more time on this strop here. I've got 3 micron on this side and 1 micron on this side, or it might be backwards, I'm not sure, but whatever. Not really too worried about it, because it is gonna be sharp regardless, 3 or 1. Okay, so that's insanely sharp. See if I can get I don't hardly have any hair left on my freaking arms from all the sharpening that I've done lately, but it is, look at that. Wow. Come on, focus. Wow, look at that. And I'm using no force at all to push that. Anywho, that's it, guys and gals. I just wanted to do a quick sharpening for you and show you how easy it is to take a production not that great edge to something that you could be proud of and something you could carry, and something that when you let someone use it, they would be like, hey man, this knife is insanely sharp. So that's it. BamaKnifeWife has her carbon fiber chaparral, and she's happy and I'm happy and everybody's happy. So that's it, guys and gals. I love you. I'm out.